Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are gonna be focus on the single file encryption and decryption that we have previously not perfectly implemented. So right now we are focusing on the encrypt and decrypt file along with the multiple files we can handle. So let's get started. So first of all, I will implement a gene framework instead of basically here we have implemented the net HTTP package, but now we can implement a gene framework in this main.go file. So let's get started. So first of all, we will remove this and write github.com gene geo conic and gene. So basically here we did not install this package previously, so we need to install this package. Along with that, we also need to remove these statements. So what we can do here, it is go get so now we have installed this package. What we can do here, it is we will use the default as a gene router, then afterwards our post encrypt file handler, decrypt file handler, then afterwards we also implement decrypt file handlers, decrypt file handler. Then simply we can use decrypt. Here we need to use encrypt file multiple encrypt file handler, multiple decrypt file handler. Secondary dot print server running on localhost 8080, and simply we will run r.run. Now we will go to the encryption. So now, just before the going into the encrypt file, what we can do, we can open the key manager file, and what here we can do, here we will change the function name generate IB. So that is called the generated random initialization vector, and here we will use AES block size, and here ran.reader and IV initialization factor. Here we will use read full function, and simply input input output. That is coming from IO package, and simply we will return initialization vector. Here we will I think it is not needed. Okay, and here we will simply throwing the error instead of printing the message, or okay, we can put it, that is not a problem. Here we can simply put the fmt statement. Now we will focus on the encrypt.go file, and here we will make some necessary changes. So here we will change the function name along with the we can use keys. So here we will use the key for 32-bit, I think. This is 32-bit long phrase. I'm using 32. Then we can simply use encrypt, rename the function name encrypt file to encrypt, and we will remove this code and simply return log error. If error does not equals to so here also we need to change because now we can return the two string along with the error. Then initialization vector key manager dot generate id if error, then simply we will return this statement. Now what we can do, new CFP encrypted, and here we can pass block initialization vector paper text make byte, we can pass length of data, we can pass. So here we will only use a data, not as a key. Then we can use CFB once again and so our key stream. So here we will import, I think we will remove this and what we can do here, it is XOR key stream Here we can pass base 64 and coding then afterwards we can pass base 64 standard encoding dot encode to string and simply pass the initialization vector. Just before that standard encoding we can use so here we can use CAP encrypted and simply here we can use XOR history. Now encrypt it looks good. Now go to the decryption and here we can also make the modification in this file. So here we will make some modification in this file. So we will remove this code and start writing the code for the basically step 1 we can create a new AES super block using the key and ensure that the super text length is at least AES block size. So we can write that so here block error AES new shipper and key. So key we can same use as it used in encryption file. So basically here we can use same the key. Then afterwards if Here also we need to return only byte and error. That's fine. And here we can use super byte, key byte. So it looks good now. Then afterwards also we need to check the super tags less than AES block size. Now we can initialize the super tags with initialization vector. And simply use the super tags variable. Then we can stream super dot new CAP decryptor, because in encryption we can use the CAP encryptor. So here we can use CAP decryptor with block and initialization vector. Then we can simply extract the tags, that is a plain tags. So simply we can use make function along with length of refer text string dot XOR history plain text super text, and now we can simply return the plain text along with the not null value. I think here we did not use because we ultimately we have used from this function. Now go to the encrypt file handler. So here we are making some modification. So we will remove this code and start writing the code for this file. And here we can now handle the routing using the gene framework. So we will use C gene context C from file A C.json fail to get required files. We will also import the gene framework. form file we can use. Then afterwards we will use the temporary file path for temporary storing file name. If error, then we can simply use the file along with temp file path. Then afterwards then afterwards so then afterwards what we can do here, it is c dot json http status internal server error, and we will simply throw the error to save file and simply return. Then afterwards we can use data of error block read file and file path. If error is not null, then c json fail to read file and simply return. We need to import this function. So what we can do here, simply we can make one function which is called read file, and here we will use file name string file and error block. Simply return IO utility read file name. Then so I think here we have made some mistake, so now it looks good. Now we can continue with this function in further line. Encrypted tags initialization vector array block encryption dot. So sorry for a little bit interruption. So now we can continue with the encryption dot encrypt data, then simply then afterwards error write file. So here we can make one function that is called the function write file. File name string contain string, and simply we can return the error block. Return IO utility dot write file name and here we can pass encrypted tags if error. Then simply we can return HTTP internal server error along with return And now we can finally pass the JSON file http dot status OK. File encrypted successfully. And one more parameter which is for the encrypted tags. Encrypted tags and simply use the encrypted tags. So here tags, encrypted tags, here it is written. So this is wrong. Encryption dot encrypt, or that's it. And here we will use the JSON method. So encrypt file handler is done. Now we can focus on the decrypt file handler. So here we will remove this thing, existing code. Simply import the gene framework. Imported this function. Simply we can use struct encrypted here we will change this function name, sorry, attribute name, encrypted tags. Same thing here we can use So basically encrypted tags we can use in the model, but we can, when we are using in JSON, it is this attribute it is used. Initialization vector string initialization, then afterwards if error block c should bind JSON and so if it is JSON is invalid and if it is JSON is null passing, then simply return encrypted tags decryption. Here we can pass encrypted tags and initialization vector. Based on that, it will decrypt our file tags. So if it is there is an error, then fail to decrypt file. Error write file decrypt or decrypt file text. If error, then c.json and fail to save the decrypted file. c.json and http dot status okay and simply use gene.add and simply pass the message file decrypted successfully and decrypted tags. In decrypt, we also need to change uh, basically string. So encoded data encoded IV string and simply return the string error. So here also we need to make the modification. So encoded data, encoded IV, we are passing. We remove this simply code. Certain amount of code like we are passing the string and error, then simply put the string and error block. Then afterwards, okay, so basically we need to remove this function. I think entire code it is not required now. Here we can use the key data error block base 64 standard encoding decode decode string and simply pass the encoded IP. A64 standard encoding and decode string. If error does not equals to not at all length of initialization vector does not equals to previous block size, then invalid length of initialization vector. Then afterwards we can use CAP component decrypt dot new CAP decrypted block IV lean text length by length of data so here we can pass the encoding base 64 package encoding base 64 so base 64 standard encoding crypto shipper crypto AES here we can pass the encoded data if error exists then simply return fail to decode data. Then afterwards I need error block base 64 to decode string using encoded IV and here we can check the initialization vector length along with the IV it is null or not. Here we can pass the encoded data. Now here we can use CFB XOR keystream plain text data, and simply we can return the string plain text, and if error exists then we can simply pass nothing here. XOR key stream, okay, make a byte, new CFP decryptor, that is mistake. That is, I think, warning sign, that is not. So invalid encrypted data. Now I think gone the warning sign. Okay, now encrypt and decrypt, it is done. Now we can handle the multiple encryption and decryption file handler. So what we can do here, it is we can make two more files, like multiple encrypt handler handler dot book, and multiple decrypt handler dot go. We can take 2 minute break, and then afterwards we can continue. Coming back to the code, so now we can write the function of the multiple encrypt and decrypt file handler. You can simply write package handler, then afterwards function encrypt multiple file handler. Simply use the Gene framework for routing. Now first we can use the form error block c dot multipart form if error does not null fail to get required files, then afterwards files form dot files. If length of files equals to 0, then we can simply return no files provided. Then afterwards result green.apps. Now we can use the for loop for multiple files processing. Range range files temp file path so this is the function looks like. First of all, temp file path file dot name. We do not need this kind of attacks. We can simply write if error block of c.save uploaded file temp path, and we can simply results append function we can use for appending the results gene.hatch. Here you can use file name file name error block fail to save file and continue. So here range files we can use. Now we can write data error block read file temp file path is error, then we can simply return the file along with the fail to read file. Then afterwards we can use the encrypted tags along with the initialization vector using this thing. Now if it is encryption fail, then once again we can return the encrypted file text. Now we can use encrypted file. Here we can use the txt format. If error block write file, and simply we can pass the file name along with resulted field tags that fail to write the file. If it is everything is working fine, then once again we can jump into the file name, then afterwards encrypted tags, encrypted file name along with the initialization vector, and then afterwards we can simply return the JSON, which is for 200 file encrypted successfully, and simply we can pass the results. I think somewhere we are missing a block completion. Okay, we need to complete this function for loop here, and now I think everything is look good along. Okay, results now looks fine. Now we can concentrate on the multiple decrypt handler. Simply we can handle write the code for each package handlers function decrypt file handler, and simply we can use C dot context and import it here. Variable request struct file name string JSON file name initialization vector encrypted tags with encrypted attribute tags. If error block we should bind JSON, we can here passing the request reference, and if it is not perfectly working, then simply return that invalid request format. So now we can results, we can use gene.h. Now simply we can use range request. So here it is used decrypted tags along with the error block. Decryption, okay, so that is not defined. Import it. So decrypt item encrypted tags initialization vector result, it is integrating. Okay, that looks good. Error of, okay, here we need to use decrypt file name with decrypted, and here we can use item dot file name. Then afterwards here we need to pass this decrypted file name. Now I think it is look good. File name error result append file name decrypted tags along with decrypted file name. So decrypt file name, and finally we can pass the JSON. So HTTP status 200 we can pass, message successfully done, and we can simply pass the results. And so encrypt file handler, HTTP status okay, which is good. Gene.h HTTP status okay, we can pass here. Result, so now I think it looks good. Decrypt multiple file handler. I think now we have done the code for multiple decrypt and encrypt file handler. Now go to the main function and simply import encrypt multiple file handler, decrypt multiple file handler, and now everything looks good. So we will now run the program. So here what we can do, you run main.code. So this kind of a pop-up it is appear, and we can allow it. Now we can open the Postman. So we can open now Postman, and I have already written the encrypt route along with the localhost 8080, and here we can simply choose one file. So for example, um, so basically when you new file choose, here simply one pop-up it is appeared, and here you can search your text file. So I will import this time.txt file, and let me check once again that file, which whether it is contain the data or not. Okay, we will create one file. Mm, let me check that file has a data or not. But instead of doing this thing, what we can do here, it is not showing any option to create a file. It's okay. Simply we can randomly choose a text file right now. So we can here go to detail, and here you can type select text, simply preview pan open, and okay, this file has a data, so we can select it, import it, and now we can go for the encryption. So click on the send button. So it is a generated encrypted text along with the initialization vector. Now we have also used the decrypt. So what we can do here, we can simply pass these two things encrypted. From the encryption we can passing these two attributes to the decrypt route. and hit the send icon. So here you can see, hello, this is the test file for the encryption and decryption. These tags will be encrypted and then they're decrypted using the API. Now we can same thing we can do for the multiple file also. So click on the right click and create a duplicate, and here make the changes multiple files. So here we can passing the two files. One is temp.txt and another is another file I will import here, assignment.txt. So there are the two files that we need to pass and encrypt. So what is the function name here? So here route name is encrypt files. So we can simply copy and open the Postman and use it here and go for encryption. So okay, we can simply import two files here. And once again hit the send icon. So here it is generated two results. Now we can simply copy this array and go to decrypt, and here you can pass in draw up selection of JSON and go for decrypt along with decrypt files and hit the send icon button. Okay, 404 not page found. Okay, so here we can remove this thing, file name, I think it is not required. Let me check once again the VS Code. File name it is required, but encrypt file it is not required. So we will simply remove it. So once again go to the VS Code and change the route name, because we are not using decrypt files, so we can change it. So go to VS Code. Here you can simply put as, and once again run the server. Go to Postman and now you can use the decrypt files and go to send, and here you can see all the content, it is decrypted very successfully. And here you can see that entire text has been decrypted successfully without worrying about the encryption. So that's how it is working. So this kind of a content, it is generated very successfully. So this is how we have completed file encryption and decryption with single or multiple files. If you like this video, then don't forget to like and subscribe my channel so that I will motivate it, and upcoming videos we will work on the multiple apps. So stay tuned in the channel and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for more updates. So see you soon in later videos.